Welcome to Rough Cuts, a creator podcast by creators for creators. With me, as always, is Dylan, the co-host.
Uh-huh.
And our operator for today is Jermaine.
Hello.
And we have a special guest in the studio today, my dog, Pepper. So if you see her on camera, or if she causes noises, you can blame her. She's an executive producer here. She has a lot of power over us. She works us to death. And she does not pay us well. So
Yeah, I think you should have read the papers on that one.
I think you should have read the papers whenever. Fuck you.
I'm not paid to read the papers.
Anyways, if you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe. You can find this also on SoundCloud and Spotify. You can see more content of ours on Instagram and TikTok. Now,
All right.
Dylan, how are you?
Baddie.
Baddie. You are a baddie?
No, I'm not a baddie.
Or you are doing baddie?
I don't know. I'm in between realms right now. But I'm feeling baddie, like with the
baddie?
red.
With the red?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I get you. Jermaine, how are you doing over there?
I'm living as well as anybody could in these times.
These times? Well, I'd say these are pretty good times if you consider the current state of the dog that is currently trying to be a part of this podcast.
Yeah, you're saying?
But the Batman,
Oh, right, the Batman.
that's our topic for today.
Is it?
As we've all finally seen it because we were waiting on a very specific person.
Yeah, I'm slow to mainstream movies. I kind of watch everything else except that.
Dude, I only just watched Encanto last weekend.
Wait, you watching Kanto last weekend?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
and that came out in December.
Gee,
Something like that.
Encanto.
Encanto.
Encanto is amazing.
Encanto.
It is beautiful and it is a great film. But that's not what we're talking about today. We are
We don't
talking
talk about that one.
about the Batmans, the Patterson, the Patson,
The Twilight.
the Twilight
The
Batman.
N-word.
The Patterman.
Now let's talk about this.
Yeah.
The dog just came in. That dog is gonna be. Just ignore the dog as much as you can.
Gosh.
Anyways, so the Batman Patterson Batman.
Yes.
Batman?
Batman.
Batman. Okay, so in my opinion, this could be controversial, but I think the Patterson Batman is the best Batman movie and best Batman that has been portrayed in live-action films to this day. Agree or disagree, Dylan?
I like Robert Batman.
Mm-hmm. Robert Batman.
He's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting movie. I like that it's not afraid to be weird as hell.
Okay.
But I don't know. I want to give it more time. I only saw it in the theater once, so I need to give it more time before I say it's the best one. And it seems like whenever a big franchise gets a reboot or a new entry, it's always considered the best one, especially
That's
for
fair.
Batman.
That's fair.
I
But
just think it's a little, but you know, I
See,
get why.
in my opinion, though, I didn't like Batfleck. I didn't like him at all. I thought that when I looked at him as Bruce Wayne, I only saw I just saw Ben Affleck
Yeah,
in a suit, and I was like, "Who is this man? That's not Batman."
that's Batfleck.
And then whenever I saw him in the suit, I just thought, "That's the Punisher." He just didn't look like Batman to me. Like, I don't know if you saw like the test photos before the film, like any of the movies came out, like Batman vs Superman or Justice League. But that picture of him just like all beefed up in the suit, I was just thinking, that's not Batman.
Well, they're using the Frank Miller one from Dark Knight Rises. Or
But here's the
Returns.
thing about that: that comic book series, that's supposed to be like old Batman, right?
Yeah, like old Batman.
Old Batman. So why the
Not
fuck?
Dilf.
yeah, Dilf Batman.
It just didn't work for me. Like, cause like you have early Superman, but with old Batman and like new Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
it just didn't work. You have
That
new
make no
Cyborg, you have
sense.
new Flash, and you have old Batman.
Yeah.
Which, if you take into consideration that means that he's been in like crime fighting for 20 years.
Probably more.
That means that he's older, a lot older than all of them, and that already puts him at a disadvantage. Because yeah, he's like a physically fit human being, but like, if he's been doing this for 20 years, you guys know Batman. That man is broken
Yeah.
mentally and physically. He got his back broken multiple times. He's gotten stabbed and shot multiple times. And then you got to take that into consideration. He decides to fight Superman as an old man. I'm just saying, it didn't work for me.
He's just wondering if he could bleed.
He
Okay.
proved it, and he almost died in the process, and it was dumb.
Right.
It was dumb. But then the Dark Knight franchise, which I did like, but I think it's a good like kind of vigilante spy movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like a heist movie.
It wasn't exactly. It didn't feel like Batman to me. Like I feel like you could take off his horns, you could take off the Bat logo, and call him anything else, and it would still be a pretty good movie. So you can't. That's not really Batman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it took the realism into it very well.
Yeah.
But then like the villains kind of all felt a bit to me.
They all, I would say none of them were accurate, which is the point, but like,
Yeah.
Bane is especially the
I
most
was
disappointing
kind of
for
upset
me.
about Bane. Yeah, I was very
Yeah.
upset about Bane because like the voice for one, I liked it. I don't know about you guys. I liked it because I thought it was just interesting. Like when I think of Bane in the Batman films, is the same thing as like Batman and then the Dark Knight films. It's like that's a good villain, but I don't think that's Bane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could have been any other villain, and
Yeah.
it still would have worked.
Because like the entire like whole thing about like they took away Venom, he's apparently really strong, but like it numbs his pain, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, but that's not gonna make this man able to lift a 200-pound man above his head and break his back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they ever do Bane again, they should make him an actual luchador. Like
That would be a lot better.
Yeah, and Dark Knight Rises is like Egyptian or what?
He
what-
was, yeah, I don't remember.
No
think he
one
was,
really knows. He's mystery white.
Yeah, Mystery White. But that's just my opinion about the movies. What about you guys?
Yeah, I do think the new one is in contention for sure. I mean, it's made its point, and it's got a lot of great moments. I like little subtle things like how they use the parents. They actually use the parents in the plot.
One of the only Batman films that doesn't show his parents fucking dying for once.
One of the only ones that mentions his mom at
Yeah,
all.
That's true. Like,
yeah,
they
his mom
never
has a
mention his
point
mom.
in the plot because she's insane.
Yeah, because her family made Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Oh,
No one ever mentions that. No one
is
knew
that like
that.
actually in
Yes.
the comics?
That is canon.
Wow.
Her family made Arkham Asylum, and no one ever talks about that until this movie. Because the only other media that has that mentioned
Yeah,
is the games. I think
probably.
they don't mention that. They gloss over it everywhere else. That the Arkham family, but Bruce is related to Arkham Asylum directly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he is the half and half of the Waynes and the Arkham family.
And that's so like intertwined with Gotham, which is
Right.
what makes it so well. And like the whole thing about Gotham is like in every movie, they kind of show Gotham as like
New York.
it's New York, it's Philadelphia, it's just any major city, and like
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's cool, and sometimes crime happens.
Hmm.
Gotham's not like oh yeah, sometimes crime happens. Gotham is like
It's probably listed the most #1 crime-riddled city
in the world. Because
In
there's
the
crime
universe.
at every single level. Because in like all the other movies, they show crime at like, oh yeah, there's like crime bosses, and then there's like broke people who are just trying to make it by and do petty crimes. No, there's crime from the top to the bottom in Gotham.
Yeah, and
Like-
the architecture and everything is
Exactly.
insane.
And
Yeah.
the only movie that really shows that is the Batman.
Yeah,
Because Gotham is a character in itself.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yes, Gotham is a character because in the entire comics and the games, there's an underground Gotham that used to exist.
Exactly.
I
Right.
like that the Batman played on that. Finally, put that Gotham is built on top of Gotham.
Yeah.
right.
So, and it's the most comic book. The Batman is the most comic book accurate.
Yeah.
I never saw Batman as a vigilante. I saw him as he's a legit detective. Like,
Oh yeah.
he may
The
not
entire-
have the
his
credentials,
first
but
appearance in comic book history was a detective.
yeah,
with a gun, but yeah.
Yeah, but they completely gloss over that in every other movie because like they show a little bit like the techie stuff and the Dark Knight stuff.
Mm.
I don't think they ever show anything of Batfleck doing anything detective-wise.
No.
He just fucking works
just
out
kills
and he gets
people.
all beefy.
yeah.
And then the Tim Burton and the other ones, they like, those were like, what I can kind of compare like all the different iterations of Batman to are like the different ages of comics,
Yeah.
which is interesting because like that's really how they kind of go about it. Like, you have the Golden Age, the Silver Age, and the
Bronze.
Modern Age. Yeah. Because like there was a time in comic books where villains couldn't do violent stuff,
Yeah.
which is why the Joker did a lot of like mischief and like he
The
ha, ha,
Joker's
ha.
boner.
Yeah. The boner
Yeah.
meant something else in
Yeah,
that time.
We could talk about it.
Clarification.
The giant penny. Don't forget about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like all that
Classic.
was just like it was jokes more like. So he was stopping him from doing dumb jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's what you can kind of say. I wouldn't say like. Which Batman would you say kind of it was the Golden Age where they did that?
Oh, it was
kind of
Adam
stuff?
West.
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking about the movies though.
I mean, the movies, they're all taken seriously.
For the most part, I would
Because,
say like I'm just saying
yeah.
bat nipples.
Oh, yeah, that was, like, Batman Forever, the Schumacher movies.
Yeah.
Or the goofy, like, Golden Age.
Mhm.
But Michael Keaton, the whole point of the Tim Burton ones was to bring Batman back into a serious context
Yeah.
and culture. Because
And-
people only knew the 60s one.
Oh yeah, and it's just interesting because like what I do love is how the Batman and superheroes evolve alongside the comic book series.
Mhm.
Right.
Because like for one, Harley Quinn was introduced in the animated series and has become such a prominent figure that she's in every piece of media that has Batman with just
Yeah.
independent now.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
purely
even gotten
amazing
to a point where now she's a hero in the comics.
because people love her that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was just a side character in animation that blew up.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because, like, she wasn't in the comic books. She was never in the comic book originally. She
Mhm.
came out of nowhere. But then, you know, that's just how Batman and society grows.
Right.
But I feel like this Batman film, I think it has a lot of the best parts in the other Batman films, too. Because you have some of, like, the realism of the Dark Knight stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have, like, the intense kind of, like, fighting of Batflick.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, like...
Yeah, dude, he was beating the. Dude, he
And you
was
have the
beating-
Gothic style
Oh my
kind
God.
of... Well, I would say, yeah, some of the Gothic style, like Tim Burton in it. Because
Yes.
it's so dark. And
Especially with the
the
light.
house. I
Yeah.
love how they
Oh,
did the
the
Bruce
house.
Manor. Because Bruce Manor,
The,
it looked so much, like, unrealistic to me.
decrepit, too.
Because it was one of those places that, like, you know, of course it's going to look unrealistic. That man has money on money on money.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, if you have a place that looks extremely gothic, and you have a man who's extremely emo,
Right.
of course it's going to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And it was effective. And another thing I really love is just how, like, emo Bruce Wayne was.
Yeah.
Because, like, it played off really well. Because I was, like, I'm gonna lie, I was worried about how Patterson was going to be Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't have a doubt about Batman, really. But Bruce Wayne, I was like, he doesn't give off that kind of energy. He doesn't
Right.
give off, like, oh, I got girls on my arms and I'm doing all this Playboy
But I
shit.
never saw that as Bruce Wayne, though.
That's
the,
what,
the one who's like a playboy.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
never
that was
thought of
supposed
Bruce
to
Wayne
be,
to be like that.
kind of like an undercover thing. Like,
It's
he
a
looks
persona.
Like that. He
Okay.
looks dumb
Yeah.
to people, then no one's going to suspect he's Batman, really
Yeah.
intelligent.
But in this one, he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, but no, what I love about it is that he looks like somebody who's rich, doesn't need to work, and he's just kind of bummed out. So he's just a recluse, and people are like, "Oh yeah, Bruce Wayne, you got a lot of money. Do you want to like help out?" It's like, no. And it's just like, yeah, all right. Anyways, you hear about that Batman guy?
Yeah.
Like,
I just want to play VR.
because he
Right.
looks like
He looks miserable.
he looks
Yeah.
miserable, and like he's just like he's rich. It's like I'm not doing anything. And you have the Batman doing shit, and he's like, God, the Batman does more shit than Bruce Wayne. Why is he so lazy? You know, like it plays off because he's supposed to be young in this movie.
Yeah.
And then I really like, honestly, I love the Batman, the Batmobile chase.
Oh,
That was
that
that's
car
insane.
is
that
sexy.
car was so good. I loved how spooky it was.
Yeah.
Like it was just terrifying. And then what do you guys think of the Penguin? Since we were
Oh,
talking
I
about
love
that chase.
that.
Oh, I thought he was very good. Like he was comic book Penguin, like
Yeah.
being an asshole,
See-
basically being
Yeah.
like the leader, but also the underdog of
Because
the leaders.
he's always been that.
Yeah.
Where it's just there's always someone above him.
I feel like it's trying to do what Tim Burton wanted to do, but not ridiculous. at all.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because the comic one's all dignified, but this guy runs a freaking strip club.
Yeah.
See, my
I
problem
love it.
about it, like when I was first, like I saw the pictures of him,
Yeah.
I was thinking, I kept comparing it to the Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Penguin. I kept thinking about like, Cobblepot, the tiny little dude, who's
Yeah.
like, "Meh," all the time.
Right.
That's what I kept thinking of.
Yeah.
So I had like doubts going in, but actually watching, I was like, oh, wait, this like works.
Yeah.
No, it's really good.
Because he has the sneakiness to him, but
Yeah.
also the scumbag to him.
Yeah, exactly. And then he has that whole like you can see the like inferiority complex.
Yeah.
In him. And I love it because like he acts like, hey, it's fine, guys, just have a good time. And then as soon as someone's like, oh, I own this town, he's like, I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah. I think he's the highlight personally.
Oh yeah. But on the topic of villains, we got to talk about the Riddler.
I guess, yeah.
You guess? You sound like you don't like him.
I thought.
I like that they did something different with
Mm-hmm.
him. I think it was kind of the best way to bring Riddler into a modern.
Yeah, because the Riddler's a bit, for lack of better words, a questionable character.
He's just a nuisance in the comics and the
Yeah,
books.
because he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
He just messes with Batman and just tries to like do stuff. And like he does mess with Batman in this, but he does it in a way that actually makes it like, oh, I need to stop him.
Yeah, it was like if you played the Arkham games, it was literally an Arkham event. Like,
Yeah.
can I spoil it?
Yeah, no, this is
He goes to jail at one point,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like
You think it's over.
Arkham Knight, where you think it's over,
Mhm.
but
No.
he set up an entire thing where the city just goes into chaos.
And he does the
won.
same thing here.
And he won.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful how like that actually like it still shows like Batman technically didn't win, but he still won in the end.
Mhm.
Right.
Because again, he's young, and like the thing I say about like this Batman movie is that he's not a hero at this.
Yeah.
He's not a hero until the very end because he's not saving people.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally just beating people up to take out his aggression and his emotions.
Yeah.
And then he realizes,
And doing crimes.
oh shit, I probably should like do something about this.
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
probably stop these people before
Maybe
they.
vengeance
keep
isn't the
destroying
right
me.
Yeah,
word.
because literally all he was doing, he's just beating people to take out his anger, and because he's rich.
Yeah.
And then he realized, like, you know what? I got the power to do something about it. Maybe I should actually do something.
I need a
about it.
better adjective. Yeah, we all know the scene where he's in the prison.
Mm.
The whole thing with him being a Twitch streamer,
I love it.
It's funny,
so great.
but it's really funny. I thought it was a funny concept, but it does work.
It works because
Yeah.
that is modern. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to get too like political or like anything, but that's realistic. That's what people do nowadays.
Yeah.
They
It's
go
like
to Twitch.
deep web Twitch.
Yeah.
Exactly, and like I think they and then I love, like I was so unsure about it after he went to prison. They had all the other guys going there. Like I was like, I don't know about this, but then watching it, I was like, wow, like that actually like that feels like more real. Like this guy
Yeah.
inspired other people.
His goons felt like actual henchmen,
Yeah.
like the ones like.
Because I feel like
Oh.
so often in movies where there's like a super villain when they have henchmen, the minions and henchmen feel so unmotivated to do stuff.
Right.
But then, like, this actually genuinely makes it feel like the guys, the henchmen, like, were motivated. They were inspired. They weren't just like, oh, I'm doing this because he's my boss. They're like, no, I'm doing this because I believe in this guy.
I feel like they used that. Not that they took it, but the reference or the idea from it came from Joker, because that's kind of when he gets
True.
arrested after the show and all of the
Yeah.
little Jokers start coming out.
Yeah. Well,
Because-
Batman's villains always have like goons.
Yeah.
Like they'll have
Yeah.
themed goons, and they even had a freaking uniform.
Yeah.
During
Yeah,
the final scene.
Which, honestly, it was effective
Yeah.
because it made you just really get that whole kind of, like, us versus them throughout
Right.
the entire film. Which was prominent the entire time. It was always this, oh, you have, at first it's like the police and Batman versus this one criminal. And then he starts realizing, oh, it's not just like, this one criminal, it's like crime lords. Oh, the police is crooked too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's me and Gordon versus everyone else.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because, it's more developed and more like, actually builds upon it instead of the whole basic plot where it's just superhero just has every possible resource given to him with police and money, power, people supporting them. He didn't have that really.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like taken away throughout the film because like, oh, even the thing I believe in, like my parents, I can't even believe in that anymore
Yeah.
because of that one. Whenever he like realizes about the whole Thomas Wayne, like, oh, he got him killed thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought what they did with Riddler, where he wasn't just a nuisance. He was doing bad things before a good reason.
Because see, I love that because villains.
They
most of the
always
time-
make them incredibly malicious.
Yeah,
but
they always make 'em
Riddler,
malicious, but-
Riddler as a character wasn't really
He wasn't
overly malicious.
He like was doing things out of necessity. He
Mhm.
felt like he felt there was inequality. He felt like he was helping people by taking out these, wrong people in the world.
Right.
And like he was just doing it in a way that he thought was good, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I think his story is great. I
Mm.
love the stuff in the suit. When he's out of the suit in the prison, it's just funny. I just can't not laugh. At
I know.
No!
It's so, but that's the thing. It's funny, but then when I'm like looking back at it and like watching, I'm like, no, that's realistic. Like you have like an egotistical like
Yeah, he's
person-
a crybaby.
they're gonna be a crybaby.
Yeah.
Someone who thinks that they're superior than other people, whenever they realize that something's like wrong, they're like, "What? No!" They're
The
not gonna
entire
be like,
world falls apart.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I've known a Riddler.
See, we've all known a Riddler,
Yeah.
and that's why it works.
Yeah.
The question is, do we all know a Batman?
Mm. Probably not.
That will never exist, I
So-
feel like.
Okay,
Oh boy.
we gotta end soon, but we're gonna end off on this story.
Okay.
There was a real life Batman. It was
Oh.
close, and the closest one
Oh, I remember.
was Henry VIII.
What?
Yes, I'm not kidding.
Oh wait.
So here's what happened. Henry VIII outlawed a whole bunch of shit, right?
Yeah.
And at night,
Don't you mean the fifth?
I think it was the 8th. I could be wrong, but I can
Because
look it
the
up.
fifth's the one everyone likes. That's kind of a hero. you know?
No, the bad one.
Okay. Because the eighth's the one with all the wives, I think.
Whatever Henry was, is Henry VIII, the bad one, who did all this fucked up shit that people hated.
Yeah.
At night, he would go around with a mace, and he would go and find criminals to beat up.
Wait, so is Batman based off of a real person?
I guess so, but he would do this, right? And he wouldn't, of course he wouldn't just do it with, like, just a mace. There was a gun in it. But, like, he would go out and he, would beat up criminals.
Right.
And then his guards arrest him, not knowing he was Henry VIII, because, he was going out killing people at night, fighting people at night. So when he's in prison, and the guards kind of, like, realize, oh, wait, you're the king. He's like, yeah, no, man, you're fine.
It's
You're
cool.
doing your
It's good.
job.
It's good.
Yeah.
But then they were like, man, thanks, but like you
But
gotta
you're
stop doing this.
You gotta chill out, man.
You got people to rule. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but like the closest
This
thing
is
we've
real
had
good.
to the Batman is Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's what we can leave off on. I want you to think about this at home. That the closest thing we've had to Batman in real life is Henry the fucking VIII.
Yep. That was a while ago.
That was a long time ago.
All right, I guess.
Jermaine, take us out.
All right. Well, the dealio. We have various social medias that you can come and watch this or listen to this. We just opened up our Spotify and our SoundCloud, so you can go take a gander at that.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be uploaded on YouTube on the Planet Grim channel. So if you want to sit back, play it in the background while you do some work, we'd really appreciate it. So leave a like, comment, talk, have conversations with us, Just tell us your opinions. We would love to know them. And have a good night.
I am the night.